Okay, we've seen one game with Trey Jemison on the Lakers, and it's clear that one game is insufficient for a complete assessment. He logged nearly 15 minutes in his debut, which is significant for someone still learning the playbook. This indicates the team's confidence in him moving forward. They aim to include him in the rotation and shift their strategy. With that in mind, what direction?
I think, first of all, a big body and plays extremely hard. With Christian and what we've asked of him, some because of Jackson's injury, but we have to sort of manage his days. And Trey gives us another body, another physical player. We kind of went away from those two big lineups. It's something we did last night, something we're going to try to get back to for small stretches of games. It doesn't mean we won't play small ever, but that's something I think where we can get some practice time, we can really work on those small ball looks. So for Trey, I think he's going to have an opportunity at times to be out there with AD. He's going to have an opportunity at times to play solo big, depending on who's available. Obviously, Jackson's our backup center. Not saying he's going to play over Jackson, but getting him in the program was important for us, and we obviously did intel on him. He's high character, high energy, smart player too, high basketball IQ, super humble. Like we're excited to have him.
Are they heading, and could he become a more integral part of the team, possibly even taking a spot from someone else? He is currently part of the roster through a two-way contract, limiting him to 50 games and excluding him from the postseason, essentially making him an extension of the roster rather than a full-fledged member. However, this situation might change if he plays well. Players like Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood could be impacted by his performance. Could he take their position or potentially hinder the team's ability to pursue a significant trade for another center or frontcourt player? There's a lot to consider here, and these are not questions that can be answered based on one game, but they are queries the team is looking to resolve, whether through Trey Jemison's performance alone or the frontcourt's overall dynamics. Until the trade deadline, we're going to discuss how Trey Jemission can influence that. Could he potentially negate the need for a trade on their team in a positive manner, more specifically, by filling the role in their center rotation? Or might he displace someone on the roster? We'll delve into what he should focus on moving ahead and how he could impact the rotation. He will have a significant opportunity ahead and may want to create a major impact on their team and their overall rotation. As I mentioned earlier, he played about 15 minutes in his debut, which is considerable for a new player. During that time, he grabbed 4 rebounds, committed 4 fouls, blocked 2 shots, and made a noteworthy contribution despite not scoring a point or even attempting a single field goal. This is something he can do that many others on the team cannot, making an impact without contributing offensively. He was simply physical around the rim, executing plenty of box outs. I believe he led the team in box outs during that game, getting rebounds and setting solid screens, ultimately being a force down low that few others on the team can replicate. From this perspective, he offered something unique to the team that others do not provide regularly or effectively. Whenever a player can bring something to the table that others cannot replicate, there is undoubtedly a place for them, even if it is limited to specific matchups. I think this also applies to Trey Jemission. For the most part, they will likely use him in nearly every matchup, particularly if he can sustain or improve his performance moving forward, which I believe or at least hope he will manage to do. Nevertheless, there clearly is a role for him. They aim to adhere to this type of strategy moving forward by adopting a more physical style while also incorporating 2 larger lineups, which JJ mentioned recently and implemented in the initial game with Trey Jemission, and likely onward. Firstly, a strong presence that plays with intensity alongside Christian is crucial, especially due to Jackson's injury, necessitating management of his availability. Trey adds depth as another physical presence. We've steered away from utilizing those 2 large lineups, but it's something we revisited last night and plan to implement for brief periods in the future. While we won't entirely abandon small ball, we're looking to refine those lineups during practice. For Trey, he'll have chances to share the court with AD and play solo as the primary big, contingent on availability. Jackson remains our backup center, not implying Trae will surpass him, but integrating him into the system is vital. We conducted background checks on him, uncovering he's high character, energetic, intelligent, and possesses a sharp basketball IQ attributes we're thrilled to welcome. To maintain or enhance his position, Trae must focus on two key areas, one being rim protection and not just shot blocking. However, effectively playing solid health defense involves being positioned correctly on the court and being capable of collaborating with Anthony Davis or any other center they team him with in their lineup. Additionally, another key aspect is rebounding, specifically contested rebounding. This is a topic I covered in my player evaluation of him regarding how he could contribute to their team. I believe the most crucial factor is contested rebounding, which distinguishes between merely obtaining a rebound and fighting for one, where only one player secures it. Trae Jemison exhibited this ability last season at Memphis, leading his team in contested rebound percentage with a 43.6% rate for grabbing contested boards. He can provide a blend of impressive contested rebounding skills and rim protection, a combination that only one other player on their roster, Anthony Davis, can match. If he can differentiate himself from Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood, assuming Wood ever recovers, as well as from Christian Coco and Traore, he has already begun to stand out more, in my view, or is at least moving in that direction. This could allow him to earn a position and definitely secure more playing time within the rotation. Furthermore, if Wood doesn't return to health or if Jackson simply gets outplayed by Trae Jemison, both could face the potential of being released after the trade for Dorian Finney-Smith. Through this trade, they managed to reduce their cap number and fall further under the second tax apron, which gives them enough room to cut a player and replace him with a different player on a minimum contract. This situation could potentially see them cutting either Hayes or Wood and bringing in Trae Jemison on a standard veteran minimum deal. While this outcome isn't guaranteed, it's certainly a possibility, and that's the kind of pressure Wood and Hayes are under right now. I view this pressure positively. It's the kind of motivation they need. Christian Wood must feel the urgency to get healthy and perform better than he did last season. Meanwhile, Jackson should focus on improving and avoiding the inconsistency that has plagued much of his performance this season. If needed, Trae Jemison could step in as a motivator for both Hayes and Wood or possibly as a future replacement. Hayes and Wood must be conscious of this and strive to retain their positions. Additionally, could Jemison's development lead to them foregoing a trade for another frontcourt player or center later on? However, I'm hesitant to go that far. I believe they should continue monitoring the trade market, and it might take significant effort from Jemison to alter that strategy. That would be beneficial for their squad, and if he could achieve that, they would be very receptive to it and likely reconsider making a trade. However, I believe this is still quite a ways off. For that to materialize, Trae Jemison would need to become their second-best rim protector following Anthony Davis and consistently outperform opponents in every game, irrespective of the matchups. He needs to establish a way to influence every game, whether facing a tall team, a shorter one, or anything in between. It's important to stress that I'm not claiming this will happen or that it is assured. I'm merely discussing potential outcomes and what he could accomplish if the best-case scenario unfolds not just for him but for the team as well. Again, I'm not implying that it's a certainty, nor am I overhyping his potential, and I'm cautious not to draw conclusions from a single game or to scrutinize it excessively. I'm simply analyzing the situations of their team and considering what they may hope for with Trae Jemison. That said, what are your thoughts? How do you believe Trae Jemison could or will influence the rotation moving forward? Will it simply depend on matchups? Will he replace someone like Jackson Hayes, or will it actually prevent a trade, making one an OB and stepping into that position for their squad? Share your opinions in the comments below, but I believe that's about it for this topic. If you liked the video, I would really appreciate it if you hit like and subscribed.